right. Okay, so this is a series of exercises primarily for the anterior tibialis. My sister had asked me for these, but they are also good if you have a child who is going to be starting track or cross-country season. They haven't been used to running and they're going to start putting some miles on pretty quick in practice. This is a really good one to try to prevent shin splints, which are really common, especially high school, middle age. All right, the other time that you can use them is with summer here, and you may be planning a hiking trip out west, somewhere where there's a lot of elevation, a lot of hills. This can be helpful to go ahead and start getting those anterior tibialis muscles ready, because they're going to be working a lot when you're going uphill. So the muscle you're working is called anterior tibialis. It is this one, if you can see that here, and it helps to bring the foot up. So you can see the little bit of the definition maybe on there. Turns, muscle belly turns into the tendon, comes down and attaches here into the foot. Okay, so that's the muscle that we're working. A couple different ways you can do it. I'm going to show you all of them, or a few variations of them. All right, first is if you think about there being a, let's say, dollar bill or piece of paper under the big toe mound right here, and you're trying to keep that dollar bill or that piece of paper on the ground. Okay, so you don't want somebody to pull it out while you're doing this exercise. And what you're going to do with your toes is you're just going to go up and down with the toes, but not let that big mound, toe mound, come off of the ground. All right, or if somebody is trying to pull it out, you don't want it to come out. So it's only the toes that are going up and down. Okay, and you just do that to the point that it kind of fatigues out, or 20-30 reps, whatever you want to start with. Okay, next one. Have your feet out a little bit, and now what you're going to do are ankle pumps or foot taps, pretty darn quick though, so it's going to be bam, 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 bam. Okay, when you do it, it's not going to take very long. Now I start to feel it. You'll start to get the burning through here. That's where you want it. You'll also start to where you don't have the same coordination, like you'll kind of miss a step. All right, and so you'll do this to the point of a little bit of that burn. And if you can take it beyond the burn as you get stronger, then you can do it that way. And it's just a bam, 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 bam. Good? Okay, you'll probably want to follow that with a stretch of that muscle. Best way to do that is, I'm going to show you with this foot, is kind of tuck it up under and then roll your leg out over it. And you may have to change the angle of where you feel it, like where the foot is, so that you can get the best stretch for you wherever you happen to feel it. Okay, you may also get a toe cramp with that. That's pretty common. All right, next you can get a ankle weight if you have it. I don't have one here at the house, so I'm going to use a T-band, but what the ankle weight would look like is if this was a strapped Velcro ankle weight, you would just put it here towards the front of the foot at the base of the toes, wrap it tight like that, and then you're just going to do an ankle pump up and down as you sit back. Okay, start light with the weight. You can always increase it. And then if you don't have an ankle weight, or if you want a little bit more, you just get one of the elastic bands, hold it down with the other foot. However hard you hold it down is how much resistance you're going to give yourself, and you're just going to pull up into that ankle pump like that. And that's just a straight strengthening exercise for that. Okay, now a couple standing ones, because standing is going to be more functional and what you have to be able to do for running, hiking, whatever. All right, it's going to be the same foot tap, but now standing. So it's bam, 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 and they'll start to burn even quicker. It's not going to be necessarily very high, but it's just a pop, 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 pop. Right. Next one, I prefer a kettlebell with this because you can get it up under your foot and hold it, cradle it in better. But all I had was a hand weight, so you can do whatever. You want this to be fairly heavy so that you don't have to necessarily do crazy amount of repetitions, but you want it to be heavy. So you hold the weight on by pulling those toes up and the ankle up, and then you're going to come up into hip flexion and back down. Keep everything pulled in, which is going to make you keep the weight intact. And again, if you have a kettlebell, it stays on a little bit better. This is also good for balance, which we all need. Okay, all right. And then what I would say is follow this with a calf stretch trigger point massage, just in case there is not a tightness in the calf that's making these muscles have to work harder. So anything you do on one side affects the other side. What's happening on the other side affects where you're feeling your pain. So you always want to think about what's going on that other side of the body too. So what you'll do here is just get a foam roller. You can do this with a ball also. And you just go along your calf muscle until you find a tender spot. So you can start in the middle, then you can kind of angle the leg in like that and go more from the inside calf, and then you can angle it out so it's more along that outside calf, and that's where mine are tender. So I will find the spot that's tender right there. I'm gonna stay there, and now I'm gonna pull up and do an ankle pump with my foot, and that's just gonna mobilize that tight muscle, that trigger point, as you hold that pressure down. You can also put your other foot on there if you need a little bit more, and you can lift your hips up like I'm doing, or you can keep it down and it's not quite so aggressive. Okay? And you just find the spots that are sore, do like 5, 10 ankle pumps, move to the next spot, do the same thing. Good? All right, thank you.